Let's start with a question that might hit a little too close to home. If he already has a wife or girlfriend, why does he keep finding his way back to you? Why does he text you when he misses your attention? Why does he suddenly appear when you pull away? Why does he remember tiny details about you, flirt with you, or create reasons to keep the connection alive while still choosing to remain with someone else? Here's where things get complicated. His behavior may reveal attraction, emotional attachment, curiosity, loneliness, or simply a need for validation. But there's one mistake you don't want to make: assuming that his desire for you automatically means he is ready to choose you. Sometimes a person can genuinely feel something for you and still be unwilling to make a meaningful decision. And that distinction changes everything. So instead of asking, "Does he want me?" start asking, "What is he actually willing to do about what he wants?" Because attention is easy. Promises are easy. Secret conversations are easy. Real intention requires clarity, consistency, and action. And in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover what may actually be driving him to keep seeking you, and the signs that can tell you whether this connection has substance or whether you're simply being kept emotionally available. Now, here's where you need to look beyond his words and pay attention to the pattern. When a man has a wife or girlfriend but continues seeking you, his behavior can mean several different things, and not all of them are romantic. He might genuinely feel attracted to you. He might enjoy the emotional connection. He might feel understood by you in a way he doesn't experience elsewhere. Or he may simply enjoy knowing that someone else wants him. And that last possibility is easy to overlook. Sometimes people seek attention because it makes them feel desirable, powerful, or emotionally reassured. They may not actually want a relationship with you. They just don't want to lose access to your attention. So ask yourself, does he consistently move toward you? Or does he only appear when he wants something emotionally? Does he make clear decisions? Does he respect boundaries? Does he take responsibility for his situation? Or does he keep you stuck in a cycle of hope, confusion, and waiting? Here's the truth. His behavior may reveal attraction, but attraction alone doesn't prove intention. Watch what happens when you stop giving him easy access to your attention. If he respects your distance, that tells you something. If he suddenly becomes more persistent, that tells you something too. His reaction to your boundaries may reveal more than his sweetest words ever could. Now let's get into something many people confuse. Attraction and emotional attachment are not the same thing. A man can be strongly attracted to you without being emotionally prepared to build anything real with you. Attraction can create chemistry, excitement, curiosity, and even intense desire. It can make him think about you, look for opportunities to talk to you, and feel drawn toward you whenever you're around. But emotional attachment goes deeper. Attachment is about feeling connected to your presence, your personality, your energy, your conversations, and the way you make him feel emotionally. He may start looking for you when he's stressed. He may want to tell you things he doesn't tell everyone else. He may notice your absence. He may remember small details about your life and become unusually affected when you pull away. But here's the part you absolutely need to understand. Emotional attachment still does not automatically equal commitment. Someone can miss you and still refuse to choose you. Someone can care about you and still continue behaving selfishly. Someone can feel deeply connected to you while remaining completely unwilling to change their circumstances. That's why you shouldn't measure his feelings only by intensity. Instead, measure them by consistency, honesty, and responsibility. Ask yourself, does he show up when it's inconvenient? Does he communicate clearly? Does he respect your boundaries? Is he willing to take responsibility for the situation he has created? Because intense chemistry can feel powerful, but healthy connection requires more than chemistry. And if he tells you, "I have feelings for you," don't immediately ask yourself, how strong are his feelings? Ask a more important question. What are those feelings motivating him to actually do? That answer may reveal everything. Because attraction says, "I want you." Attachment says, I feel connected to you. But genuine intention says, I'm willing to make honest, responsible choices. And those three things can look similar at first, but they lead to completely different outcomes. Now let's talk about the question that can keep you awake at night. Why does he keep coming back if he already has someone? Maybe you finally distance yourself. You stop initiating conversations. You decide you're done analyzing his mixed signals, and suddenly, there he is again. A message, a phone call, hey, how have you been? And just like that, all those emotions come rushing back. But here's what you need to understand. Someone coming back doesn't automatically mean they're coming back for the right reasons. Sometimes he returns because he genuinely misses the connection. Your conversations may give him emotional comfort, excitement, or a sense of being understood. When you disappear, he notices the space you leave behind. But there's another possibility. He may come back because he misses your attention, not necessarily because he's prepared to build a future with you. Your attention can become emotionally rewarding. Knowing that you still care can reassure his ego. And when he senses that you're moving on, he may suddenly become more interested, not because his intentions have changed, but because his access to you is disappearing. This is why patterns matter more than isolated moments. Ask yourself, does he come back with clarity? Or does he come back with the same confusion? Does he return with honest conversations and meaningful actions? Or does he simply restart the cycle? Attention, affection, distance, silence, and then another comeback. Because if the pattern never changes, his return may not be a sign of progress. It may simply be a sign that he knows the door is still open. And here's something powerful to remember. You don't have to prove your value by being the person he keeps coming back to. Your value isn't measured by how often someone misses you. It's measured by how you choose to treat yourself when someone cannot offer you the clarity and respect you deserve. So the next time he comes back, don't just ask, why is he here again? Ask the question that really matters. What has actually changed since the last time? Because if nothing has changed, another return may only lead you back to the same place. Here's a question that can completely change the way you see this situation. Does he actually want you, or does he simply want to feel wanted by you? Because those two things can look almost identical from the outside. He might constantly check on you, compliment you, flirt with you, react when you pull away, or find excuses to keep the conversation going. Naturally, you may think, he must have strong feelings for me. But attention alone doesn't tell you what someone intends to do with those feelings. Sometimes a person seeks outside attention because it gives them an emotional boost. Knowing that you find them attractive can make them feel desirable. Knowing that you're still available can make them feel important. And knowing they can get your attention whenever they want can provide a sense of security. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're prepared to offer you a real relationship. So how do you tell the difference? Look at what happens when you stop feeding the validation. If you become less available, does he suddenly become more persistent? Does he increase the compliments but avoid serious conversations? Does he make emotional promises but never take concrete action? That pattern can be revealing. Now, this doesn't mean every person who seeks attention is intentionally manipulating you. Human emotions are complicated. Someone can genuinely care about you while also enjoying the validation you provide. That's why you shouldn't focus on one message, one compliment, or one intense conversation. Look at the pattern. Does he respect your boundaries? Does he communicate honestly? Does he make responsible decisions? Is he willing to accept consequences for his choices? Because someone who genuinely wants something meaningful will eventually have to move beyond attraction and validation. They'll have to demonstrate consistency. And remember this, you should never have to compete with another woman to prove that you're worth choosing. If he wants your attention but refuses to give you clarity, don't confuse his desire to keep you close with a willingness to build something real. So ask yourself one final question. If you stopped giving him validation today, would his actions still show genuine interest tomorrow? That answer may tell you more than anything he says. Now we need to talk about something that can keep you emotionally stuck for months or even years. Mixed signals. One day, he makes you feel like you're incredibly important to him. He's attentive, affectionate, curious about your life, and somehow always finds a reason to talk to you. Then suddenly, he disappears. His energy changes. His replies become shorter. He creates distance. And just when you begin accepting that he may not really want you, he comes back again with warmth, attention, and emotional intensity. That cycle can be incredibly confusing. But here's something you need to remember. Confusion is information. If someone repeatedly makes you question where you stand, don't ignore that feeling simply because their good moments are powerful. Maybe he tells you that he cares about you, but refuses to define what you are. Maybe he says you're special, but only contacts you when it's convenient for him. Maybe he talks about a future with you, but makes no real changes in his current situation. Maybe he becomes jealous when you talk to other people, while still expecting you to accept his relationship with someone else. These contradictions matter, and no, it doesn't necessarily mean he has no feelings. He may genuinely be conflicted. He may be attracted to you while struggling with guilt, fear, comfort, or indecision. But his internal conflict should not become your emotional prison. Instead of trying to decode every message, look for consistency. Does his behavior match his words? Does he respect your boundaries? Does he communicate openly? Does he take responsibility for the situation? And most importantly, does his presence bring you clarity or constant uncertainty? Because real connection doesn't require you to become a detective. You shouldn't have to analyze response times, social media activity, sudden disappearances, or every change in his tone just to figure out whether you matter. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. And if his pattern is repeatedly pulling you close, pushing you away, and then pulling you close again, recognize what that cycle is doing to you. The biggest red flag may not be that he has mixed feelings. The biggest red flag may be that his mixed feelings are costing you your peace. So don't just ask, what does he mean? Ask yourself, is this behavior giving me the kind of relationship I actually want? That question can change everything. Now we're getting to one of the most important lessons in this entire conversation. When his words and his actions don't match, believe the pattern, not the promise. A man can tell you, I care about you. He can say, you're different. He can tell you that he thinks about you, misses you, or wishes circumstances were different. And maybe he means every word. But words can describe feelings. Actions reveal priorities. That distinction matters. If he says you're important, but only contacts you when he's lonely, pay attention. If he says he wants something serious, but refuses to make any meaningful changes, pay attention. If he tells you he doesn't want to lose you, but keeps you hidden, confused, or waiting, pay attention. And if he repeatedly promises that one day things will be different, but months pass and nothing changes, you have to evaluate the reality, not the potential. This doesn't mean his feelings are fake. Someone can genuinely care about you and still be unwilling to give you the relationship you deserve. That's why the question shouldn't simply be, does he have feelings? The better question is, what are his feelings actually producing? Are they producing honesty, consistency, respect, clear communication, responsible decisions? Or are they producing secrecy, uncertainty, jealousy, waiting, and emotional exhaustion? Because you can spend endless amounts of time trying to interpret what someone might mean, while their behavior is already giving you the answer. And here's another important point. Actions don't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Consistency can be an action. Respecting your boundaries is an action. Being honest about his circumstances is an action. Taking responsibility for his choices is an action. So watch what happens when you stop accepting excuses. Watch what happens when you ask for clarity. Watch what happens when you establish a boundary. That reaction can reveal more than 100 romantic conversations. Because when someone truly values your presence, They don't just fight to keep access to you. They also care about how their behavior affects you. So the next time his words sound beautiful, but his actions leave you confused, pause. Don't ask, which words should I believe? Ask, what story are his actions telling me? That story may be the truth you've been looking for all along. Here's a question that can be painful to ask. If he already has someone else, why is he so afraid of losing you? Maybe every time you start pulling away, he suddenly becomes more attentive. He checks in more often, reminds you of your connection, brings up old memories, or finds a reason to reopen the conversation. It can feel like proof that you mean something deeply important to him, and you may. But there's a difference between not wanting to lose you and being willing to choose you. Sometimes a person wants to keep someone close because that connection provides comfort, excitement, emotional support, validation, or a sense of being understood. You may represent something he doesn't want to give up, but that still doesn't mean he's prepared to build a healthy relationship with you. Think about it this way. Someone can value having access to you without being willing to give you the commitment you're asking for. That's why you have to watch what happens when you create distance. Does he respect your decision? Does he become honest about what he wants? Does he take responsibility for his circumstances? Or does he simply increase his attention long enough to pull you back into the same cycle? This is where many people get trapped. They interpret his fear of losing them as evidence that he's finally ready. But sometimes he isn't ready to move forward. He's simply not ready to let go. And those are two very different things. So don't measure the depth of his feelings by how intensely he reacts when you walk away. Measure it by the quality of his choices when you stay. Does he bring clarity? Does he bring consistency? Does he respect your dignity? Does he make decisions that align with what he says? Because if he only becomes emotionally intense when he feels you slipping away, that intensity may be about loss, not commitment. And here's the question I want you to remember. Does he want a future with me, or does he simply want to keep the possibility of me? You deserve to know the difference, because being someone's almost, maybe, or secret emotional escape can keep your heart occupied while your life stands still. So if he doesn't want to let you go, don't immediately celebrate. Pause, observe, and ask what he is actually willing to do to make his presence in your life honest, respectful, and real. Now let's talk about one of the hardest possibilities to accept. What if he doesn't actually want to choose you, but he also doesn't want to lose access to you? This is where being kept as an option can become emotionally exhausting. You may notice that he gives you just enough attention to keep the connection alive. When you pull away, he comes closer. When you become available again, his effort fades. He may say things like, I don't know what the future holds, or I care about you, but things are complicated. And maybe his situation really is complicated. But pay attention to what happens over time. Because if months pass and the same uncertainty continues, you have to stop evaluating his potential and start evaluating his pattern. Being an option often looks like inconsistency disguised as possibility. He may want to know that you're still there. He may become jealous when you start moving on. He may flirt with you, make emotional promises, or talk about what could happen someday. But when you ask for clarity, suddenly there's another excuse. And this can create a dangerous emotional cycle. You receive just enough hope to stay invested, but never enough certainty to feel secure. That's why one of the most important questions you can ask yourself is, if I stopped waiting for him today, what would I actually lose? Would you lose a real relationship, or would you lose the possibility of one? There's a huge difference. And please remember, being someone's option doesn't mean you're not valuable. It means they may not be capable or willing to give your value the commitment it deserves. Your worth doesn't increase because he chooses you, and your worth doesn't decrease because he doesn't. So watch the pattern. If he wants access to your attention but avoids accountability, notice it. If he wants emotional intimacy but refuses clarity, notice it. If he repeatedly returns whenever you begin moving forward, notice it. Because someone who genuinely wants to build something meaningful eventually has to make choices. You shouldn't have to remain emotionally available while someone decides whether you're worth choosing. So ask yourself one final question. Am I being loved, or am I simply being kept available? That answer might be uncomfortable, but sometimes the truth that hurts your feelings today is the same truth that protects your future tomorrow. So now you understand the possibilities behind his behavior. But here's the question that matters most. What are you going to do with that information? Because understanding his psychology is useful, but it means very little if you continue accepting a situation that leaves you confused, anxious, or constantly waiting. First, stop trying to prove what he feels. You may never know exactly what's happening inside his mind. Maybe he's attracted to you. Maybe he's emotionally attached. Maybe he enjoys your attention. Maybe he genuinely cares but is conflicted. You don't need to solve every mystery. Instead, focus on what you can actually observe. Look at his consistency. Look at his choices. Look at how he treats your boundaries. And most importantly, look at how this situation makes you feel. If every interaction leaves you overthinking, checking your phone, waiting for his next message, or wondering where you stand, that emotional cost matters. Second, establish a boundary. A boundary isn't a threat, punishment, or attempt to control him. It's a decision about what you will and will not participate in. You can decide that you won't be involved in secret conversations. You can decide that you won't accept romantic attention from someone who is committed to someone else. You can decide that you need clarity before giving someone deeper emotional access. And then comes the hardest part, follow through. Because a boundary without action becomes another request they can ignore. Third, stop measuring your worth by his behavior. Whether he chooses you, misses you, pursues you, or walks away does not determine your value. You are allowed to want a relationship where you don't have to compete for attention, where affection isn't hidden, where commitment isn't constantly postponed, where you know where you stand. So if he comes back again, don't immediately focus on how much he misses you. Ask what has changed. Ask what he is willing to do differently. And ask yourself whether his actions align with the kind of relationship you actually want. Because sometimes the strongest move isn't figuring out how to make someone choose you. It's choosing yourself before you lose yourself waiting for them. And that decision can be the beginning of your peace. Before this video ends, I want you to remember something that may be easy to forget when someone's attention feels intense. Being wanted is not the same as being valued correctly. A man can miss you. He can think about you. He can feel attracted to you. He can become jealous when you pull away. He can even have genuine emotions for you. But none of those things automatically create a healthy relationship. What matters is what he chooses to do with those feelings. Because love isn't proven by how intensely someone looks at you, how often they come back, or how emotional their words become when they're afraid of losing you. It's revealed through clarity, consistency, honesty, respect, and responsible action. So if he has a wife or girlfriend and continues seeking you, don't make his behavior the measurement of your worth. You don't need to be chosen over another woman to prove that you are special. You don't need to compete. You don't need to wait indefinitely for someone to make a decision. And you certainly don't need to accept confusion simply because the chemistry feels powerful. Ask yourself a different question. Is this connection giving me the kind of love and peace I want to experience? That question brings the focus back to where it belongs. You. Because sometimes we become so focused on understanding someone else that we forget to understand ourselves. We analyze his messages. We study his behavior. We wonder what he meant. We wait for the next sign. But meanwhile, our own needs are getting pushed further into the background. Don't lose yourself trying to decode someone who refuses to be clear. If he truly wants a meaningful place in your life, His actions should eventually communicate that without requiring you to constantly investigate them. And if he cannot offer that clarity, you are allowed to step back. You are allowed to say, "This isn't enough for me." You are allowed to choose peace over potential. So remember this: you are not asking for too much by wanting honesty. You are not difficult for wanting consistency. You are not demanding for wanting clarity. And you are never obligated to remain available simply because someone doesn't want to let you go. Sometimes the most powerful answer isn't waiting for someone else to choose you. It's finally choosing yourself.